Hello and welcome from the Save New Barnet team. By now we hope you've had a chance to look at the latest proposals for the Gasworks site from Fairview and One Housing. This short presentation sets out our comments and a vision of what we think can be achieved on this site. It may also help you when you are giving your feedback to Fairview and One Housing. So far, we keep being presented with options from the developer, but they don't appear to be listening to what the community wants. We thought it might be more productive to take our own ideas to them. We want a scheme that's more attractive, a better design, and something that the community can be genuinely proud of. We want a scheme that creates homes fit for families and that sits comfortably within our community. We want a better visual appearance for this scheme, not just ugly rows of standardised blocks of flats. It needs to reflect the type of buildings in the New Barnet area, both modern and traditional. We want this to be a benchmark site, one that sets a real precedent for other new buildings in the area, something of great quality, not poor generic design. And above all else, we aspire for this scheme to be award-winning, something we feel the community deserves. The two blocks fronting Victoria Road, blocks H and J, haven't changed very much from the 2017 approved application, so we won't be discussing them any further at this stage. Fairview One Housing's latest proposal is very similar to the 2020 scheme. Not quite so tall, not quite so dense, but still rows of uniform blocks predominantly 7 stories high. So what are the drawbacks of the Fairview One Housing scheme? It's still really high density at 554 homes, and that's 50% more than the 2017 consented scheme. It's still a really unattractive layout, with most flats having no direct views of the park. We've always been worried about the noise from the railway. Fairview's own consultants recorded peak noise of up to 100 decibels. They said it was road noise, but analysing their report in detail, it's clear that it's coming from the East Coast Main Line. Many of the flats closest to the railway embankment will face the dilemma of either not opening their windows, but then they become really overheated as those flats get all the afternoon sun, or open the windows and be deafened by the noise from trains passing through at up to 115 miles an hour. It's also just one style of housing, just flats, which we think doesn't always meet the needs of the community, especially families. So we looked at how we could adapt their proposal into something much more acceptable. This is our proposal, building on the scheme that was approved in 2017, but with some more homes to reflect the developer's issues about the additional cost of clearing up the site. Our scheme has a mixture of flats and maisonettes, curved facades, and a step-back frontage to the park and the spine road running through the development. Although our scheme is just a concept design at this stage, it's been prepared by our architectural team, who have many years of housing design experience. We estimate our proposal would generate 460 homes, more than the 2017 approved scheme, but far less than the developer's current proposals. Our design responds to the unique constraints and opportunities of this site. It tackles noise issues raised by the site's proximity to the East Coast Main Line. Flats and maisonettes on the railway boundary are designed to be shielded from noise levels of up to 100 decibels, but they will also act as a buffer to reduce noise levels across the whole site. We've ensured that as many homes as possible benefit from having views of the park. Only a small section of the 4 blocks facing the park, that's blocks C, D, E and F, rise to 7 stories, and that's in the centre of the site, some distance from the park. The elevations facing the park and the road are just 4 stories and relate to the scale of nearby buildings in New Barnet. All except the 8-storey block contain maisonettes as well as flats, providing a range of dwellings which cater for families as well as couples and single people, and promotes the creation of a healthy new community. We've maximised amenity space by reducing the footprint of the building and curving the building line to the central terrace to widen the space along the road through the site. The East Coast Main Line is a real issue. For those of us who live in New Barnet, you regularly hear the trains going through, and in this hot weather we've had recently, it's particularly noticeable because of course people have their windows open. Now, we studied Fairview's noise report from 2020 and noted that at the bottom of the embankment the noise isn't too bad because the trees and bushes dull that sound. However, above the second story the noise passes over the trees and straight into the flats. To overcome this, we developed larger 4-bed flats at ground level which open out to both the embankment and their private gardens and the roadway running through the development. Above that we have a stack of 2-bedroom maisonettes with all the habitable rooms, those are living rooms and bedrooms, facing the road and only kitchens and bathrooms facing the railway line. At the top we have some 1-bed flats, but again the habitable rooms all face away from the railway. Here is what we are talking about in a bit more detail. 4-bed flats at ground level provide good quality family accommodation. Noise levels from the railway are lower below the second floor, so these flats are dual aspect. On the roadside they have their own front door, increasing surveillance and therefore security on the street, and to the rear they have a private garden. The developer scheme, by contrast, shows a communal area here, at risk of attracting antisocial behaviour. The flats are designed with family living in mind. They have separate living rooms and kitchen dining rooms, allowing family members to do different things at the same time. The maisonettes are stacked above the ground floor flat and enjoy either a wide terrace or a balcony, providing valuable outdoor amenity space. Maisonettes are a bit more spacious than flats because they're arranged over 2 floors, and this helps to reinforce the impression of a house, something which many families are looking for and which is one of the reasons why we've included as many as possible in our scheme. On the upper floor, a landing provides a little extra space which is dedicated for working and enjoys views of the wooded embankment. Like the ground floor flats, the maisonettes are designed with separate living rooms and kitchen dining rooms, and critically, the internal layout of the maisonettes means that all the habitable rooms, those are living rooms and bedrooms, face away from the railway line and are sheltered from the effects of overheating due to the westerly orientation. In the central curved terrace there is a 5th floor of 1-bed flats which, like the maisonettes, are designed so that the habitable rooms face away from the railway line. These flats are designed as an attic story. So these are the benefits of our proposed scheme. 4-bed homes, some with private gardens, which families can enjoy. Different housing types, both flats and maisonettes, designed to meet the needs of families and help promote the creation of a healthy and settled new community. Varied design styles with a beautiful curved facade and with step-back frontages that relate to the scale of nearby buildings in New Barnet. Open views to the park, helping with the integration of the scheme. More amenity space on site. It specifically addresses the railway noise and is a more effective use of the space. We hope it is more acceptable to the community than the developer's scheme, and hopefully it will set a benchmark standard for high quality, maybe even award-winning design. So in summary, we hope we've shown a willingness to identify alternative solutions and to find a compromise that's acceptable to all the stakeholders, the local community, the people who are going to be living in these flats and the developer, and that it reflects the community's needs and aspirations for this to be an award-winning scheme. Now, we showed our proposals to the developer over a month ago, but they seem to have completely ignored it and pressed ahead with their high-density, unattractive scheme. Tell us whose scheme you prefer, the developer's 554 homes in standard blocks or our 460 home scheme in a range of different property types. Now please make sure you feed back your concerns to the developer's consultation, which ends on the 30th of June. If you have any questions, you can leave them on our Facebook page or send us an email and we'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Please pass this link on to your neighbours and friends to ensure that everyone in the New Barnet area can see there's a real alternative to the Fairview One Housing scheme. Thank you for your time.